Hello, it's Melinda from Scrapbookingcraft. How you all going? Welcome to our Count Your Rainbows class. So thank you for purchasing the kit. This is the page we're going to recreate today. First, let's just run quickly through what's in your kit and then what other supplies you need to gather from around your house. So in your kit, you get some bits and pieces. So obviously get your little word quote. You get your black cutout girl, get 2 stencils, this one, with lots of little circles. You get the raindrop stencils. You get some book paper that we're going to use in a minute. And what I've done is I've put this in case you don't have an art journal. So this is the offcut. This was a 12-inch piece of paper. So this is 350 GSM BRT. That's the brand name. So BEEARTY. Mixed media cardstock. Now, when you're art journaling, and if you have an art journal before, you need to work on a substantial piece of cardstock or watercolor paper. If you just work on like regular photocopy paper or something that's thin, it's not going to stand up to all the paint and ink and bits and pieces you're going to throw at it. So I recommend 300 or 350 GSM cardstock, and this BRT cardstock is beautiful to work on. You could work on a heavy 300 GSM watercolor paper. You could buy a commercial art journal book. It's up to you. So this kit is designed to be A4 sized. You could actually do it on a slightly small journal, maybe like an 8x10 commercially bought journal. That would work also. It's just the elements are sized for this size page. We do have smaller girls in our website if you want to do it in a smaller book. The other supplies you will need is some matte medium to glue our book paper down. This one's Kmart brand. Any matte medium or gel medium would work as well. So that's like an adhesive. We will need some white gesso. Sorry, my bottles are all gunky. White gesso or white paint would work. Then we need our paint colours. So what I've done is I've used Dina Wakley paints, and they're heavy body paints and they're really nice colours. So if you don't have this particular brand of paint, doesn't matter. Go through your stash, find some acrylic paints that are in the similar colours. So to start with, we have Dina Wakley Mineral, which is a really light blue. We could always mix a really, really light blue too if you don't have one. We have Sky, which is like a different shaded blue. We have Turquoise, which is like a bluey green. I've grabbed a second one of Turquoise because mine are nearly out. I have this one, Malachite, I think it's pronounced. I didn't actually use it on my original one, but I'm nearly out of turquoise, so we might throw that in. It's like a bluey green. Then we want a really dark blue for around the edge, so a really dark navy blue. So we've got Dina Wakley Night. So you want to have sort of a range from really light blue, a really, really dark blue, and then a few in between blues. And this one's going to a bit more greeny. We'll see if we use the malachite or not. As I said, my paints are nearly running out. I have to do some shopping. The other thing you need is a black ink pad and some sort of texture stamp. I've used a little script stamp. So this is like a little scripty stamp that's as old as the hills. I don't even know who makes it anymore. You can put a little bit of music note on it. This is a music note stamp. You could have something like this with a little scribbly text, or something that is a very small pattern would work also. A script stamp is a must because you use it so much. You'll need a black and white pen to do some pen work on your page. You'll need a paintbrush and maybe a silicone spatula to spread paint around. I may use my fingers because I like finger painting. And you'll need some baby wipes because we're going to do a baby wipe technique. And I believe that is it, apart from some adhesive to glue some stuff down. So a good craft adhesive, something like an all-purpose glue or an art glitter glue or something like that. And I think that is it. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's get into our class. Now you've gathered all your supplies. Try to make sure my journal is nice and straight for you. So whether you're working on the piece of paper that's included in your kit, which is an A4 piece of white, ooh, that's a bit dirty on the back, A4 piece of white BRT cardstock, or you want to work in a journal, you're working on about an A4 size surface. So all I've done with my journal is I have gessoed it. Because it's cream, I didn't want a cream base, and putting a layer of white gesso on it just gives it a coat of, it gives it a barrier, and your paints slip and slide a bit easier on top. So this is the page we are doing. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to take some book paper. I'm just going to turn that over so it's less distracting, hopefully. So I put some book paper in your kit. We are just going to tear a few strips and just add a bit of interest in the background. If you're a book lover, I do apologise. So I'm just tearing down with the strips of words. This is a really old dictionary. Who even uses dictionaries nowadays? We just all use Google, don't we? So I'm wanting probably about 3 strips. So art journaling is all about layers. So we're just adding sort of interest and things in the background for layers. Check where I've actually done it. Done something like that. It doesn't really matter where it goes. You can sort of see it here, here, and here. So to glue book paper and thin paper down like this, I like a product called Matte Medium. So it's quite a liquidy product. You can hear it slushing around. I've actually got some in a little Vegemite jar. Makes it easier so I can just dip my brush in. So Matte Medium is basically what they put into paint to extend the viscosity of the paint, or extend it to be more runny, but it doesn't lose the colour, if that makes sense. And it's also a really good glue. So we stole it in art journaling to be a glue. So you want the one that has the word matte on it. There is one that says gloss, but the matte one obviously dries clear. So what you want to do is put a generous amount on your art journal page where you want your piece of paper to go. Stick your bit of paper down. Doesn't matter if you go outside the lines, this will dry clear. And then you want to go over the top. 2 reasons we put it over the top. One is it seals the paper and puts like a waterproof barrier on it. So if you have an oopsie down the track, I got a wrinkle in that. Let me see if I can fix it. Just be careful when the matte medium gets on the paper. It is quite fragile. So the matte medium puts a barrier on the paper, and so if you have an oopsie with paint or with ink, you're able to wipe it off. Just want to make sure you don't have big blobs of it. I'm going to put paint all over this page anyway. So I'm just making sure that's nice and smooth. Put any back in my jar. I do like it in a little jar as opposed to the squirty bottle, because it's hard to get back into in some circumstances. Just going to wrap my paintbrush in a wet baby wipe, and I will go wash it later. Now we just want to give that a bit of a dry. Doesn't take long to dry with the thin layer. So you can see I'm actually picking my book up and putting my hand behind it. There's a reason for that. If your book sits flat to the table or to the other pages of the book, it takes the heat tool a lot longer to heat up the back and the front of the paper. Doesn't have to be 100% dry. We're going to put paints over the top of it. Just needs to be dry so you don't feel a big splosh of wetness when you put your hand in it. That's my tell if it's dry. It's a little tacky, but that's okay. We can move on because we're going to add some paints. So now we are going to add a selection of paints. So I asked you to go get a really light colour, and this one's Dina Wakley Mineral. We're not going to use that one yet, so put that one aside. We use that one for the border. Grab your darkest paint. We're going to put that one aside as well. I've got Dina Wakley Night. Not going to use that. But the other 2 to 3 blues we are going to use. Now I don't know whether I'm going to use that one, but we'll see if there's enough in here. So I have got Dina Wakley Turquoise, second turquoise, Dina Wakley Sky, and I've also got Dina Wakley Malachite. I'll see if I do use the malachite. My paints are getting a little bare. So basically what we want to do is, we want to fill the entire page with paint over our book text to give a second layer to our art journal page. So art journaling is all about layering. So it's about layering up all sorts of layers to make your page. So our first layer is obviously the gesso, second layer is the book paper, third layer is the paint. Just seeing if I can pull the tip of my paint off because it is being a little stubborn. There we go. Did I get a small enough paintbrush that I can get in there? I might have to go and grab some other paints. We'll have to see how we go. Oh, here we go. It's amazing how much paint is in there when you think there's none in there. So basically what I want to do is in 3 to 4 spots, just sort of spread out some paint. Having the gesso on your page or the matte medium, we've got both actually, will help the paint to smooth out and you won't use as much paint. See if we can get, this paintbrush might be a bit big to get into here. Hopefully we can get enough out that we need. Doesn't matter if you're messy, doesn't matter if your paint is not totally solid and colouring the page. We sort of want it to look something like this. You could finger paint if you wanted to. Most of the time I finger paint. Okay, so we are done with the sky. I definitely do need to go paint shopping. Do too much crafting. We'll see which one's heavier. Oh, I don't know. So we'll go in with the second colour. Now because these colours are all blues, we can actually don't have to dry the paint in between. We can just go in with the second colour. Just going to grab it out of the lid. So we are putting a border around our page. Oh, I just hit my microphone again. So we don't need to necessarily go right to the edge of the page. We can stop just inside the page a bit. It's gone a bit dark, so what I might do is I'm going to grab another baby wipe out and help spread it round. What I want to do is I want to still see some of this book paper. So by putting that matte medium over the book paper, we have the ability to wipe off, wipe the paint off. If that book paper didn't have that matte medium over the top, it would just soak in and it wouldn't come off. So I still want to see some of the book paper, so I'm just going to add a bit more. I think we might put a bit of that malachite in as a third colour. Doesn't really matter what colours you've got, just 3 shades of blue. All the pages turn out slightly different, even when I teach a in-person class of 20 people doing the same thing. Everyone's page turns out slightly different, which is lovely. So don't be afraid if yours is looking a bit different to mine. Trust the process. Let's go in with a bit of this malachite. It's a bit green, but it'll work. I think this page is turning out a bit more greener than I like, but we're going with it. We're going with the flow. Oh yeah, that is green. Okay, I might go find another blue paint in a minute. So just putting that around a bit, usually in about 3 spots. I am just going to pause the video and go find a bluer paint to add a bit more blue back into it. Found some paints that are a bit more blue. So this one is sky blue. So we're going to add a bit of that in just to take the greenness away. Because I want a bit more blue than green, but we can leave a bit of the green in the background. There we go, bring a bit more of that blue into it. A little bit more of that. So you basically paint until you got it happy. There was no reason why I couldn't keep with the greeny blues. I just want to make it a bit more blue. There we go, that's a bit better. So I still want to see some of that book text. We don't want to totally eradicate it. And then I'm going to bring in this one, which is ocean blue. Now this one is quite blue, so I don't want to go over the top with this one. I just want a little bit. I'm going to stick a little bit on my brush and just put a little bit here and there. Oh, this one's like bluey purple, isn't it? So play until you're happy, stop when you're happy. Sort of feathering it out so it's not big patches of really big blue, it's sort of just a little bit of colour here and there. Okay, I think I'm happy. I think I'm going to stop. Knowing when to stop is always fun. It is going to be slightly different to this page, but it will still work out in the end. Actually, it looks more blue on camera. It looks more green in real life. That's really weird. Okay, so we just want to give that a little bit of a dry. Still a bit wet up the top. Whoops. Second paintbrush I'm going to wipe in a baby wipe. That's a good hint if you're nowhere near a tap or a lot of water to wash your paintbrushes out. Just wrap them in a baby wipe and they'll stay wet and moist until you can get to wash them out. Like an hour or so. I wouldn't leave them overnight because they will dry out. Good old hand test. If you stick your hand on it and you get paint on your hand, it's obviously not dry. It's not dry in one section. I don't know where it is. It's all right. We can move on. So we're still seeing a bit of that book text. Most of it's been covered up. Let us go on. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some of this reverse stenciling. Now, if you've never seen this before, you may have a little bit of a heart attack, as some people say. So you want to grab some baby wipes and have some baby wipes ready. So you want to have 2 or 3 baby wipes out ready to go. You don't want them sopping wet. You want them just damp. We're going to grab our teardrop stencil. So this, what we call reverse stenciling. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get the outline of the teardrops. So traditionally, if I put paint through a stencil, I'm going to get big chunks of colour. And I just want sort of the outline. So this technique, or reverse stenciling, redactive stenciling, I think it's already also called, works better with this fine. See how this is a lot of holes and tiny bits holding it together? Doesn't work so well with solid shapes like this. So we're going to aim for this part of the stencil here. So it works with more lacier stencils, if that makes sense. So we are going to pick a colour. Do I want to go darker or lighter? I think I want to go... I went lighter on this colour. So you want to go either lighter or darker than the colour you've got. This one I went lighter, so let's stick with lighter. And I need to unblock my paint. Hopefully that was enough to unblock it. Yes, it was. Okay. So you want to put paint approximately where you want your reverse stenciling to go, and I'm going to do it with my finger, because you want a nice thin layer. And you go, Melinda, you've just covered up everything. While the paint is wet, very important, while the paint is wet, grab your stencil. Put your stencil on top. Wipe through the stencil, wiping the paint away. Now, you can notice I'm moving my baby wipe around every time I wipe. If I'm wiping in the same spot, I'm basically wiping paint back in the holes. So now you can see the holes. I've wiped the paint, and if we pick it up, we should just have the line of the stencil. See how I've got the lines here? This technique only works, just going to wipe the back of my stencil off so we can do it again. This technique only works on top of paint already on your page, on top of gesso, or on top of matte medium. Does not work on raw paper because the paint soaks in and you don't have the ability to wipe it off. Now I don't like this little particular bit here, so what I can do is I can do some adjusting. With my finger I can just go in and don't press too hard because you will wipe your background off, which is what I just did. I'll fix that bit in a minute. Just wanted to take those more solid bits away. So when you are wiping, wipe gently, or you'll do that and then we will have a slight mistake to fix. Let's give that a bit of a dry. Just feathering out the edges a bit. It's a very thin layer anyway. So we've given that a bit of a dry. Oh, it's still a little damp. So just remember there's no mistakes in art journaling. You just either change the way you thought you were going to do your page, or you just add some more paint. Just going to finger paint some more paint down here to cover up the white bit that I stuffed up. And you won't even know in a minute that I did it. A tiny bit more paint. Try not to make it too dark there, and try not to make it obvious that I've put more paint there. So I'll just add a bit up here. So again, play until you're happy. I think I'm happy with that. Wipe a bit more paint up here. We'll dry that off, and you won't even know I did that. Oopsie. So that probably happened for a couple of reasons. A, my paint might not have been completely dry, and I'm just going to put a bit of this colour over the top and add some more teardrops just down here. Or B, I rubbed way too hard. So now I'm going to go for this more holy teardrop, sort of line it up and do it off like this. So this is a bit of a knack. Sometimes you will get it perfect the first time. Sometimes the reverse stenciling takes a little bit of experimenting, but it is fun. Just being cautious how much paint I've got on the back of my stencil when I go to do it again. Okay, now we're going to move on and do a little bit up the top here. Ideally I'd do it in 3 spots, but because we're only working on one page, 2 spots is probably enough. I'm going to move that over. And I like to leave in all my mistakes and oopsies and show you, A, that I'm human as well, and it happens to the best of us, and also how to fix them. I watch some videos and you can tell that they've edited something out or redone it, and it's just the perfect video, and it's like, no, life's not like that. Let's teach reality. So again, just wiping off. Probably need a new baby wipe. Ah, there we go. And if you've got a big blob like I have down there, just move your stencil and make it another teardrop. So the more contrasting the colour that you've used, oh, that's probably why I've got crap all over the back of this page. Whoops, sorry. Stuff all over the back of this page. I'm using it as a thing. So down here where it's darker blue, you'll see the lighter colour better. I should talk over the heat gun. Hang on. So you can see this is quite light up here, which is okay. This is a lot more prominent down here because it's a darker colour. So the contrast, the difference between the colours being dark to light or lighter to light will depend on how well it turns out. Clear as mud, right? We're going to do some more reverse stenciling in a minute, so we get to practice some more. Just put the lid on my paint so it doesn't it doesn't clog up. Now, you want to grab out your stamps, your, just put these 2 baby wipes away for no, we'll do the border in just a second, we'll leave them out. Talking to myself. So now grab the texture stamps, whatever you want. I might use the music note this time just to be something different. I've got a small script stamp, or I've got something like this. Something just a little patterny to add a something something, another something something to your page. So I put a little bit of script here. I put a little bit of script up here and up here. It's just adding another texture and another dimension. And if I get the music notes up the right way, that would be handy. I think they go that way. Or if I put this on back to front, I think I'll put my stamp on. Oh, no, it's not going to come off. Or maybe it is. I think maybe this is on. It is. It's on upside down. Oh, that's not going to come off. That's all right. We're going to go with it. It goes this way. If you stamp it upside down, who really would matter with music note? So we're not going to put it on a stamping block. With mixed media stamps, we don't want to mount them on a block because I don't want a big rectangle sitting on my page. I want just a little something something, like a little bit here and a little bit here. So I'm just going to ink it up with a few fingers, and then I'm just going to press a little bit on my page here and there. And I want to sort of connect it to the stenciling. I don't want, mouse, you're always in the way. I don't want to stamp it sort of randomly in the middle. So you can have it coming up from the top. Then stop when you're happy. So obviously this is mainly where our person's going to go, and our text is going to go here, our Count Our Rainbows little word. So we're trying to keep that area clear, and we're sort of building in the other spots. So I've just used a black archival ink. Do you need to archival ink? No, any black ink pad will work. Just remember, if you're doing more layers, a non-archival or a non-permanent ink pad will react or move the next layers we've got. Okay, now we've done our stamping. I think it's time to do our border. So this border is done in 2 layers around the edge. It's done with our darkest blue, and then it's done with our mineral again over the top with the reverse stenciling. So I'm just going to flip that over so it's not too distracting, hopefully. So this is Dina Wakley Night, or a really dark navy blue. You could even do it with a black. What we want to do is throw the paint around. What we want to do is paint a border. And I'm going to... Sorry, just trying to do that side that's closest to the book in one foul swoop. Okay, so we want about 1.5 inches of border, but we don't want it to be solid line. We want it to be a bit lumpy and bumpy, because it gives it that more organic look. And I should really have, I should really have a piece of paper behind my next page in case I make an oopsie, in case I paint the next page. So let's do that, because then we can go right to the edge. So we are painting over a bit of our stenciling and music note. That's cool, that's okay. It's going to tie it all together. You sort of don't want to see any white showing. So here I've sort of got it lumpy and bumpy. So you want it about 1 inch, about 2.5 centimetres, but not straight. Clear as mud, right? So the Dina Wakley paint is a heavy body paint, so it's a thicker consistency than some other paints. So it covers really nicely over other colours and layers up quite intensely, which is really cool. So I'm just going to bring that bit down. When you're happy, stop. Teaching when you're happy. For me, being able to teach you when to stop and when to be happy, it's really hard because I haven't learnt that yet. I just a little bit more I say, and then, well, yeah, I should have stopped a step ago, shouldn't I? But I am happy with that. So I'm going to stop. Just going to throw this paintbrush in with these others. I don't have a pot of water on my desk at the moment. Okay, we're going to give that a quick dry. Okay, that should be dry. It's a nice thin layer so it doesn't take... No, it's still a bit wet up there. Just be careful with your hands near your heat tool because it does get quite hot. Okay, the good old stick my hand in it, does it feel wet trick. Okay, so we've got our border. See how different they look? So originally when I did this page, I did the black border and I go, ew, I don't really like that. How can we make it a little different? So I thought, let's do some reverse stenciling on the top with this little circly stencil. So if you want to grab that one out. We're going to do the same thing we did with the teardrops, but we're going to do it in small sections because if I put the paint all around the border, by the time I started here and got back to here, my paint would be dry. So we're going to do it in small sections. Make sure we've got our baby wipes at the ready. Probably going to do about half the book at once. So we're going to squirt some paint out. So you want your paint to be fairly thick, but not, come on paint, not too thick a layer. Come on, we're going to get in here a bit. Come on paint, come out. So I'm just wanting to cover up the black, or sorry, the, what colour? Blue. The blue border we've put in. And I'm trying not to get paint on this side. Usually I do double page spreads. I don't do single page spreads for this reason, because it's hard to get not paint somewhere where you don't want paint. Okay, so I've got a nice, I've done a bit more than I should. If I don't get in trouble with it drying. Put our stencil down and gently wipe with our baby wipe. So you can move the stencil, you can line it up again. It's quite an easy stencil to line up. So this one you have to rub a little bit harder because this holes are a little bit smaller to push the baby wipe in. There we go, we're getting a cool funky border. Now I don't mind that it looks a bit more distressed here. It looks like I've taken a bit of the blue paint off, but that's alright. Again, I probably pushed that a little too hard, so be gentle. And I think I can use this baby wipe for one more lot. So I like to finger paint because A, I can get a really nice thin layer, and B, I just don't have to clean another paintbrush. I don't know, and it just connects me more with my journal when I have got my fingers in paint. There we go. I think I left that paint dry a bit too much on that first one. So little circles on this one seem to be worked better. Round and round and round. There we go. I might end up redoing this bit. We'll see how much it bugs me at the end. It might not bug me at all. So things don't have to be perfect in art journaling. If you're happy, that's the main thing that is main thing. Because this is your art journal page, your project. So if you don't have this mineral colour, which is a really light blue colour, it's like a bluey grey colour, you could use white. It'd just be a bit more stark. You could mix a bit of grey and white to tone a grey down. You just want a colour that is quite a contrast. So colours that are too close to each other don't do well with this reverse stenciling technique because you just can't see the baby wipe. You just can't see the stenciling if the colours are too close. Sometimes it'll work perfectly, sometimes it'll be not so perfect. It's a bit of a fun technique to try if you've not tried it before or heard of it before. Just be careful. I'm just wiping the back of my stencil because we are putting it straight down in paint. I don't want to add more paint to the next section, so I've got one section to go. So I'm going to take mineral again and go up over here. So it's sort of a balancing act of how much paint to have too thin, it doesn't work. Too thick, it doesn't work. It takes, oh, trying to line this up is fun. There we go. I think I've got that. No one will know if I haven't lined it up correctly. Oh, I think I got it. So we'll go here. And I've got to work out if I want to correct that side. Do I want to correct down here? I think I do, because it's bugging me. Because it's not matching the other side, because the other side seems perfect. But there is an easy way of fixing that. There is a great saying with art journaling, you're only a layer away from where you want to be. So basically to fix this bit here, all we do is make sure it's completely dry. Go in with our, I just flicked something with my computer. No, we are still recording. So go in with our base layer again, our blue. Make sure again it's not straight. And I do have a bit of masking tape under this part of my book, so that may be causing me issues too, but we'll see what happens. Okay. I should not have wiped that with my finger. I've been art journaling for quite a few years and teach classes, and I still make messes. So don't worry if you're starting out and you make a mess or make a page you don't really like. We can always fix it. So we'll dry that off. Oh no, it's still a bit wet. I do have glue and masking tape under there, so hopefully I'm not melting everything. Just trying to get any of the paint off there. Now that should be dry. Good old stick the hand in it test. Just wait for it to cool down a little, and we'll go in with a reverse stenciling up here. So don't be afraid to go over a bit that you've already done that you don't like. It's better to do that than get to the end and go, oh, I wish I'd done it. If you think you want to redo something, just redo it. It's only paint and paper. And what have you wasted if you don't like your page at the end? You've wasted a bit of paint. That's not the baby wipe I want. This one is. A bit of paint, a bit of time. But art journaling is all about play. And being happy with your page is a bonus. And don't compare yourself to people that have been doing this for years. If you're just starting out, have fun. If you don't like something on your page, work out what you don't like about it and don't do it again. Hopefully. It's just being a bit of a bother to do it on that angle. Aha, there, I like that better. Much better. Much better. You get real me in videos and lives. Not being able to talk, and English is not good some days. Okay, let's dry that off, but I'm really happy with how that's turning out. Let's see what our next step is. It's looking something like that. Okay, our next step I think will be to... So we've got next step of adding our person and our word, and then this little bit of doodling in here. So I'm going to do the doodling in here last, because you might feel it needs it, you might feel it doesn't need it. So if you want to grab out your black person and your black word, we'll add those first. So you've got a little quote to add. And... about to have an avalanche off my desk. Oops. So these black pieces are cut out of about 225 GSM cardstock. So they're sort of meant to do a little bit with and then stick them to your page. We do have other shapes that are white. They're sold as white cardstock. And they're made out of 330 GSM, I think it is. Something like that. I think it's 330. And they're meant to be inked and coloured, and that because they're a thicker paper. It's actually that paper that come in your kit, the really thick white cardstock that you might be using as your base. So what we're going to do is we're just going to play around with our positioning. Now let's get rid of this bit of paper. So what I've done is I've grounded her. Say if I had her sitting up here in the middle of nowhere. Oh, come on, move over. She looks like she's floating. And to me, I don't like floating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to what we call ground her. So I'm going to touch her feet to the bottom border. That's going to ground her to the border. I'm going to touch the umbrella to the side border, and that's sort of going to ground her in. And she's just going to be holding the little quote. So we're going to we're going to do nothing to the quote. We're basically going to stick that down, but we're going to grab a white paint pen, so a Posca paint pen in a very fine pen, and we're going to just draw around her. I'm going to flip this over and do it on the back. So what we're going to do is we are going to, and I apologise if my head gets in the way. I'm going to see if I can keep my head better with glasses, but not glasses. Better with glasses. So basically we're going to just fine line around just the edge. We're about 1 millimetre in. Doesn't matter if it's a bit wibbly woggly, because mine's going to be wibbly woggly. Actually, glasses off, and if I'm here, hopefully I don't get my head in the camera. I'll just do a bit and then I'll get my head out of the way. See how I'm just doing a little bit down her skirt? And I do apologise if my head is in the way. For anyone that's new to me, I do have quite low vision from a distance. So to do something like this, I usually have to have my head quite close to what I'm tracing around to actually see what I'm doing, hence why the glasses come off. So I do apologise. I don't think my head's getting into shot. Or it might be getting shot a little. And as you can see, I'm moving the shape around, so I'm keeping my hand in the one position, doing the one action like up and down. I'm not trying to do this or this and contort myself into many different positions, I should say. So you could do this with a white paint pen, you could do it with a gel pen. White gel pen would work as well. So I've only done one line up the balloon because it is so fine. And I'm going to come work in the balloon in a minute. So this just sort of puts a bit of a detail on the black shape without detracting from the black shape. Okay, I'm just doing around her hand. I do apologise if my head is in view. So now we're going to do the umbrella part. So let's just pick her up. See how she looks really different? So if I flip her over to the back, see how she looks like a bit plain? One little white line, it's not much, but it looks really cool. So now I'm going to outline the balloon. What is this? It's an umbrella, Melinda. Outline the umbrella. Again, it doesn't matter if you're a bit wibbly wobbly. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to do it upside down because it's easier. I'm going to go from the tip of the umbrella to that tip there, and that tip there to the tip of the umbrella there. That is all done. So this was a Posca paint pen, I should have said that, PC1MR, so it's got a really fine point on it. Very good for doodling and doing outliney things. So she is going to sit somewhere like so. So depending on your page, you might want to move her down a bit and ground her to the bottom of the page. You might want to move her over a bit. But if she sort of touches the border here and here, she's sort of grounding to the page. When I'm designing art journal pages, I like to have what we call a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. So because she's standing on top of the border, she's in the foreground. So she's the first thing you see on the page, or the first layer. Then the border is the second layer, because it's sitting behind her, but it's sitting on top of the background. And then obviously our background is our background layer. So that helps to give your page depth and sort of a bit more definition. So I could stick this up here floating, but I like it on a hand. We're going to go there. Yes, we're going to do that. When you're happy with your placement, I'm going to grab a good craft glue and stick them down. Because you're sticking over paint and matte medium and all sorts of things on your page, you want a good craft glue. This one's Couture Creations from Couture Creations. It's, what is it called? All-Purpose Art Glue. Art Glitter Glue works. There's quite a few. PVA would work. You sort of want a good craft glue. This one dries clear, so if I put too much and I have an oopsie, doesn't matter. There we go. So I'm going to put her there. Hold her down for a minute. And then something like the words, we are just going to pick sort of the fattest pieces and put a little bit of glue. Now my glue does rush out a bit too much because I got angry with the tip of my bottle and I chopped it off the other day, which was not the best thing to do because it was blocked up. So I'm just trying to put little dobs here, there, and everywhere. You don't have to get glue over every letter. And then we're going to have her just holding it. Now, if you found you had like too much darkness behind here and the word wasn't standing out, you could have put a little bit of the lighter colour behind it, but mine's standing out quite well. It's looking a bit something like it, except my colours are a little bit lighter. But that's okay. They're all going to look slightly different. They do when I teach a class of 20 people. Everyone's pages look different. I've just got this little bit of white here that I'm just going to get rid of because it's bugging me. Ugh. There we go. A tiny little bit of white was just annoying me, which is nothing unusual. Little things on pages do annoy me and then I have to fix them. So the only thing we have to do now is the doodling. So what we can do now is reassess, do we like the colours? Do we have to adjust the colours any stage? Do we need more stamping? Have we totally lost our stamping and we just think it needs a little something something here? Got a bit of stamping up here, got a little bit here and a little bit here and a little bit here, or a little bit over here. So I think I'm good with stamping. I've lost a bit of the text up here and here, but that's okay. So doodling or hand drawing on your layout is the last thing you do. Just going to dry that little bit of paint I stuck there. Okay, so with the doodling, I tend to work on the premise this girl was black, so we put some white on her. So this area here is quite light, so we're going to bring in some darkness in. So it's up to you how much you want to doodle, whether you want to do a lot, a little, whether you feel your page doesn't need it. I sort of find that we've got darkness on the lady and darkness in the word, but there's no other real darkness in the background apart from our little spots here. So I'm going to do a bit of doodling in here. I could bring my stencil back in and try to line it up, but that sounds like too much hard work. So what I'm going to do to start with is just outline, and again I apologise if my head comes into view. Oh, I should explain what pen I'm using first. I'll go back to that. So you want a black pen. This one is a really good one. It's Uniball is the brand. I Micro. So Micro is like the thickness of the pen. There's a fine and I think there's a bigger one. This is like a ballpoint pen, but it's a permanent, I believe it's waterproof. Waterproof, fade proof. Okay. So it's waterproof and fade proof. It draws over paint. It draws over matte medium. Even if you're a little bit wet or a little bit sticky, it still seems to not clog up the pen. Had a lot of clogging up pens, so trust me. And this one's a really nice one. I get them from Officeworks here in Australia. I'm sure they've got other places you can get them from. It's just easy. I have access to Officeworks. So I'm just drawing around some of the teardrops. Am I doing everyone? No. So I'm just doing an outline to start with, and then I'll work out if I need pattern in them. So I'm just going sort of on the inside of the teardrops, just in a cluster, and also to give them a bit of definition. Do I want to do the stripy lines? Let's do the stripy lines. So now I'm just going to freehand some lines in here. So this last little bit of the doodling, or adding a little lines, sometimes it's drawing around a stencil, sometimes it's just doing some wiggly things here and there. It just adds to the detail and finishes off your layout. Am I being very conscious of them being straight? No. Could get a ruler if you really wanted to, but that just sounds like too much hard work finding a ruler. See how that's just changed the whole dynamic of the page? It's cool with a video because you can look back on the different stages and see how the page transformed. Even when you're crafting at home, it's a good idea to snap a photo on your phone, we've got digital phones now, at the different stages and see how your page sort of progresses through the different stages. So I like that. What you could do is, if you wanted to add a bit, where is it? If you sort of up here is a bit blank, but I don't want to put much. So maybe if I just put a little, it'll sort of fill the area, but it won't take over, because I don't want a lot of elements competing on my page, if that makes sense. So up here, it's looking a little blank to me. We've sort of got a bit of text up here, and the colours are looking a little different. So this up here doesn't sort of look blank to me, where over here it does. So you can take your stencil and you can just draw through it. And I'm just going to do, again, sorry about a head if it's coming in the shot. Oh, I think I'm doing a good job of keeping my head out of the shot. So basically I'm starting at the border and just going around and just outlining a few drops, and I might actually want to, I don't want a little one. I want a little one over here, so I'm just going to move to a different part of the stencil and add a little teardrop. So you can draw through your stencil and add just a little. It's actually showing up better in real life. I wonder if I can pick it up to the camera. See how it's sort of there, but it's not fighting to be at the front. It's more pushed in the background. And again, we could put some lines in them. So it's about just playing around until you're happy. They almost look like baubles, don't they? I'm just deliberately not going over that border, so that border feels like it's in the background. So the border is sitting on top of the paint. Actually, what I might do, look a tiny bit lost. What? I hit my mouse again, didn't I? Still recording. What we can do is, maybe it's looking a little lost. We could go around with our white pen and just go round. Whoops. Round the edge of them. So it's about playing with black and white, or light and dark, to push and pull the images. My paint pen's decided it wants to be a not working little sod. So it's just a matter of pushing and pulling, and what we call pushing and pulling with light and dark, to see what you like. Come on, pen, I only want to do a little bit more. It's obviously a bit wet up there maybe. See how that's just made it jump out just a little, but it's not as dark as this. And then this is a different sort of tone as well. Hope that makes sense. So you can do as little or as much doodling as you want. You can, I love tracing through stencils and doing lots of doodling. It's always fun. So you can look at your page and go, do I like it? Do I not? Do I want to put anything up here? I don't think I do. I think, and knowing when to stop. is hard also. Knowing when to walk away is a learnt skill. So I hope you've had fun in the class and learned some new techniques, and your page looks something like this. Every page I do, even when I repeat them to film classes, is always slightly different. I can never get it exactly right. Love to see what work you do. If you do have social media and upload them, you can tag Scrapbookingncraft, our business name, and that alerts me that someone has put up something under our tag and I can have a look. Or if you want to personally message me and send me your work, or if you have any questions or queries, don't hesitate to do that as well. Or you can leave a comment on this video. Hope you had fun. Art journaling is all about fun, and art journaling is all about the doing more than the destination. I say to people it's more about the journey, so the time you've taken to sit down to do the class, more than getting to the end and going, do I like it? Do I prefer this one over this one? No, this one's a bit darker. This one's a bit lighter. Just depends on what paint colours, how much paint you put down, what colours you choose. I may have done a bit of grey up here too in the paint. I thought I did write the colours down. But it's all about being happy at the end. And if you're not happy, go, oh, I really don't like the stripes. Don't do the stripes again. Just outline. But it's fun to experiment and see what you do and don't like. Thank you so much for purchasing my class. We have lots more on the website and lots more coming. And I'll see you again one day, either on Facebook. We do a lot of classes on Facebook as well. Or we'll see you around YouTube in another class. Thanks very much. And have fun making your page. Or if you followed along and did it, hope you had fun. Bye for now.